Hello and welcome to today's University of St. Francis webinar, Degrees for Teachers, how USF helps start and advance teaching careers. Thanks everybody for joining us today. My name is Dave and I'm going to be running the show here today. We're calling it a second helping because we had a lunch and learn event about degrees for teachers a few weeks ago, and we had so much interest and excitement around it that we wanted to bring it back and give everybody a second helping of this information here. And what is that information exactly? Well, we've got three experts from USF who are joining us today. We're going to watch a recording of the Lunch and Learn event that we had a few weeks ago. The information is just as relevant now as it was then. They're also going to join us for a live Q&A session after the video has played. During the video, we're going to learn more about the education landscape in Indiana and what sorts of career opportunities there are out there for teachers. We're going to share how USF's education degree programs help prepare you for those positions, both through the online curriculum as well as those clinical internship and student teaching experiences. You'll also learn the kind of support that you can expect as a USF online student. And we've also got a special offer for those starting their classes this August. We're offering free books for your first class if you start classes on August 23rd. We'll have a little bit more detail on that later on in the presentation today. So again, we'll start with the video of our Lunch and Learn session from a few weeks ago. That'll take about 25 minutes or so, and then we'll dig into the Q&A portion, and I'll have more instructions at that point. So with that, let's go ahead and start the video. Let's introduce them. Again, we've got three great women from USF who are joining us today. The first is Cayla Wise. She's the director of USF's Master of Arts in Teaching and Transition to Teaching programs when it comes to elementary licensure. And she's an expert in elementary education, having been a third grade teacher for 8 years. And this is her second year with us at USF. She's also a USF alum. She earned her bachelor's degree at USF before moving on to a master's degree at Ball State. And she is currently pursuing her doctorate degree as well. So Cayla, good to have you with us. Joining Cayla from USF faculty is Brittany Straub. She is the director of those same programs, Master of Arts in Teaching and Transition to Teaching, for secondary licensure. Brittany came to USF. This is her third year here. Formerly, she was a high school teacher. She is also a USF alum, got her bachelor's at USF, her master's at IPFW, so right there in the Fort Wayne area as well. And she too is pursuing her doctorate degree. So Brittany, glad to have you with us. And then the last panelist that we have today is Tyhanna Harrison. She is a success coach specific to the education degrees at the University of St. Francis. You'll learn what a success coach is in a little bit as part of that broader student support team. Tyhanna has about 15 total years of experience as a success coach, working closely with students to help them to accomplish their personal, professional, and academic goals. And so again, between these three women, we've got lots of lived professional experience, as well as Tyhanna's also pursuing her doctorate. So each of these ladies have their master's degree. They know what it's like to be an online student, to be a non-traditional student as well. And so they're going to bring that experience to bear, as well as their expertise in the fields of education. So Cayla, Brittany, Tyhanna, so happy to have you with us today. Thank you for your time and for sharing your expertise with us. So with that, I'm going to turn the time over to Cayla to start to talk to us about what the education jobs landscape looks like. So Cayla, take it away.
Hi, some questions you might be asking yourself, and hopefully you're asking yourself if you're joining us today, is why teaching, why now? Teaching is a very service-oriented profession. If you are someone who really enjoys seeing that light bulb come on for a student, or maybe a child you've worked with in the past, then teaching is likely for you. Right now, Fort Wayne Community Schools, which is a local university, or excuse me, local K-12 school corporation close to the University of St. Francis, has 30,000 students currently. So if you're considering education, think about that impact that you could have on any one of those 30,000 students. And if that's something that's exciting to you, then education is likely a career path that you should explore. As of this week, there are actually 600 plus open positions right now in the state of Indiana. A lot of those are in high need areas, special education, science classrooms, and even math classrooms. Those are all high need areas. but really K-12 wide, there are positions that are currently available. The landscape for education continues to look favorable over the next coming years, and especially amidst COVID-19. That has really changed how things in education are looking. We have a lot of retirements that are occurring and a lot of other pandemic related reasons that teachers have left the career. And so there are more and more positions that have become readily available for you to step into. So once you've decided if yes, teaching is for me, I'm passionate about that, I want to see that light bulb go on. The next step is to think about why should I get a master's? So currently 88% of the districts within Indiana actually offer a pay increase for those who get master's degree. And so, that may be one reason that you consider making that step. And on average, we're looking at about $7,000 plus more that you could be making in the future with a master's degree as a teacher.
Okay, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what we offer at St. Francis. So we offer programs for becoming a teacher, as well as programs to advance your career. And that's going to be the next slide. The first thing I'm going to focus on are the options for becoming a teacher. So you can think of 3 buckets that we have. We have our Master of Arts in Teaching, our Master of Science and Education, specifically special education, and our Transition to Teaching bucket. And each of those buckets has several options. So our Master of Arts in Teaching is going to be 12 to 24 months. And you can license in elementary or secondary for that. Our Master of Science and Education for special education is going to take 12 to 24 months. We have tracks across grade levels for P3, K6, 512, and P12. And you can specialize in mild or intense intervention or both. I do want to clarify also the tracks for the P3, K6, 512, and P12. That's not a difference in programming. You're still going to take the same courses for mild or the same courses for intense. That will really come down to what licensure exams you take, as well as what field practicum and internship you take. And then we have our Transition to Teaching bucket. That's going to take 12 to 21 months, and it's a non-degree program to meet the minimum requirements for Indiana licensure. So this is not going to result in a master's level degree like the others. And we have tracks available in elementary, secondary, and special education. Again, in special education, you can license in mild, intense, or both. Okay, so I mentioned that not only do we have those buckets or those options for starting your career as a teacher, but we also have options for advancing your teaching career. And these are non-licensure programs at University of St. Francis. So again, we have our Master of Arts in Teaching, our MAT, again, 12 to 24 months, elementary or secondary. And then we have our Master of Science and Education, again, 12 to 24 months. And this is going to be a P12 SPED focus. Unlike the other Master of Science and Education for SPED that I talked about, this one does not result in licensing. So you're not going to be taking those licensing exams and have those grade band ranges. And then we have our certificate in online teaching, which Cayla is going to talk about.
Thanks, Brittany. We are super excited about our certificate in online teaching. This is going to be new starting fall 2021, and it came because of the high needs from the pandemic, that we've realized that there are a lot of areas that we need to grow in online teaching. So this certificate will actually consist of 4 different courses. They will be 4 8-week courses that you will take. You can finish in as little as 6 to 12 months, and it actually will fit a P16 range. So truly the certificate will fit anyone in education that is looking to brush up and further develop their skills regarding online teaching.
Okay, the next 4 slides kind of break down the details of what we've already discussed. So the first one is our Master of Arts in Teaching, our MAT. Again, that's elementary or secondary. And this is a 33 credit hour program. And it varies depending on how long when you start and how many classes you take will determine how long it takes you. So 12 to 24 months is what we like to tell people. The tuition overall is going to be about $17,000 at $525 a credit hour. And there are some fees involved with practicum and internship. So you're going to want to prepare for $400 and $600 for those 2 semesters where you take the practicum and internship. And that really is for supervision costs.
So a couple of program highlights when we look at our Master of Arts in Teaching for our elementary and our secondary. So we offer some wonderful methods courses. Depending on which path you take, they're wonderful either way. And we really stay abreast of changing trends. We couple with local universities as well as other K-12 schools to really see what are the things that are needed in our current classrooms. And so those are things we're constantly evolving our courses to better fit the needs of what will better prepare you in the classroom. All of our courses are aligned to our INTAS standards, which are those necessary preparatory standards that will prepare you. A little difference between our elementary and our secondary programs. As you are coming through those, if you take the secondary pathway, you will, before practicum, which we'll talk about a little bit later, you will need to pass a core exam in the area that you hope to license in. So if you are going to be a secondary educator, let's say in science, you will need to pass your core test in preparation for that. The elementary program, actually the testing comes at the end as you prepare for licensing.
Okay, so then we switch over to our Master of Science in Education for Special Education. And this is a 36 to 39 credit hour program, so a bit longer, still 12 to 24 months, depending on what time of year you start, as well as how many classes you take, and then also whether or not you want to specialize in both mild and intense intervention or just one of those. So the cost is a range between roughly 19, we have 18.9 or to 24.75, and it's $525 a credit hour. And then again, those $400 and $600 fees.
So as we look at the MSED and special education, again, these are high need areas. As I mentioned earlier, talking about the current openings in Indiana. So these are areas that there are many jobs available. And as Brittany mentioned, there are 2 different pathways. You could do your mild intervention or your intense intervention pathway, or you actually have the option to couple those together and explore both routes. That would make your practicum and your internship placements look a little bit different. So if you would to decide to enroll in that route, that is something that we could talk to you about to make sure that you're getting experience in both of those areas. Your mild intervention is going to be more of the more traditional classroom setting where you are either having students come to like a pull-out setting, working with them in small groups, or you may even be doing some inclusion where you're, moving into a general education classroom and working with those students who have those needs. Your intense intervention is going to be more of those self-contained, those high needs students who may be working on different curricular needs. In both of those pathways, you will still have an internship 16 weeks where you're working full-time with those students in a classroom setting.
Okay, and then we come to transition to teaching. This one is a bit shorter because it does not lead to a master's, and it's simply completing the requirements by the state to get your licensure. So 18 to 24 credit hours, 12 to 21 months, unlike the others. Again, that will vary depending on when you start. So your cost, still a range, a little bit less, still $525 per credit hour, and still those $400 and $600 fees for practicum and internship.
This is a great pathway for career switchers, for those who maybe have been in corporate world and are interested in switching to education. We still offer the same great courses, so you're still getting that quality education. And you can make that determination then to actually add and switch, later on to your master's if you would decide to do that. You will still do internships, so you'll be working 16 weeks full time in the classroom, really getting that experience necessary to become a quality teacher. So next we have our certificate of online teaching. And Brittany, did you want to talk a little bit about the length and the cost?
Just that this is a 12 credit hour program. It's going to take 6 to 12 months to complete and 6,300 to complete.
So as I mentioned earlier, this is P16. So, we're talking preschool level clear up to higher education level, where you can really work on those online teaching skills. It does consist of 4 courses. You'll be doing some pedagogy learning as well as working with diversity and inclusion and what that looks like in the online environment. And with this certificate, you actually will be given an opportunity to develop an online course as part of your capstone. And then you can take that back into your classroom or back into your district and actually utilize that. This certificate may also help you if you're a current educator and you're looking to get those continuing education renewal coursework credits. These courses could help you qualify for that. So our online courses at USF, we use a learning management system known as Canvas, and all of your courses will take place through that. Most of our courses are going to be 8-week courses. We do have a few that are 16 weeks. Our courses are set up by modules. So you will work through the content. You will likely have weekly assignments that are due. And in addition to the reading and coursework, a lot of our courses give you opportunities to do peer teaching with someone else who may be in your course. You may work through discussion boards or have live Zoom or Teams meetings to really meet with professors as well as your peers and digest the content that you're learning. St. Francis offers small class sizes, and so you're looking at it on average about 17 peers that you'll be working with, and this really gives the opportunity for you and your instructor and you and your peers to work collaboratively and really digest that information and get a deep understanding, and also gives you that opportunity to ask questions and get those questions answered so that you really can do your best as you transfer into the classroom.
Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about practicum and clinical internship. Just to clarify also, clinical internship is the same thing as student teaching. So you might hear both terms for that. Also, clinical internship, so practicum is 120 hours in the field, arranged at your convenience with your cooperating teacher that you are placed with. Clinical internship, though, really is, like Cayla said earlier, 16 weeks of full-time work. So you are taking the responsibility of the teacher, your cooperating teacher, and really diving in and taking that classroom for that term. So that is a full-time commitment. And the first question here, how does this work with an online program? So all of your courses at University of St. Francis for any of these programs are going to be online. However, your practicum and your clinical internship is a placement in your area. We have a field placement director who works very closely with you to put you in an area that you're already familiar with in most cases, and you will be at a school in your licensure area. So for example, if you are elementary, you'll have that experience. If you're secondary, maybe your practicum is in an 8th grade classroom and your internship is at the high school level. So that's how that works in an online program. And then I kind of already addressed the second question here, how are students assigned to schools? You'll go through different progression points in the program where you are asked to submit a background check, a practicum application, a clinical internship application, and all along the way we kind of guide you through that process. And then with those things, with the applications, our field placement director will work with you to get you into one of those schools that you are familiar with in your area, wherever you might be. I mentioned the background check. That is something that you have to be cleared with the background check to be able to be placed in these districts. And I think that's all I had to say about practicum and clinical internship. Is there anything else to add, Cayla?
So I know you touched upon, a secondary placement. If you would come through one of our elementary programs, that looks a little bit different. You will still have your practicum as well as your internship setting, as Brittany talked about, but you would be placed in a K-6 classroom, and likely you would be in a classroom that would teach all content areas. So, you would be looking at your reading, your math, your science, and your social studies that you would be teaching and getting experiences with. When you think about the special education programs and taking that mild or that intense route, if you decide to go the mild route, you would have a practicum setting anywhere K-12 for that 120 hours. And then you would have a different setting for your internship for that 16 weeks. The intense would look the same in an intense classroom. And should you decide to do the mild and intense route, you will actually have a practicum in mild. So you would have 120 hours. You would have a practicum in intense as well. And so you would have an additional 120 hours to give you those good foundational experiences. And then when it comes to your 16-week internship, you would actually split that 8 weeks and 8 weeks. And so you would have 8 within a mild setting and then 8 within an intense setting.
So I will actually go over how does USF support students from start to finish. So everyone that you will, on the screen that you see here that you'll be working with, plus a couple or more, are considered your academic team. So first, your enrollment coach. This will be someone who is assigned to you, who will coach you through the entire enrollment process and onboarding experience. Your enrollment coach is here to assist and ensure you are meeting deadlines to turn in your required admissions documents, make sure that you are in the correct program that you're looking for, all of the above. So any questions you have on that process, you'll be able to go through your enrollment coach. We do have a great enrollment team here that will help you, and your individual enrollment coach, if they're not if they are unavailable, then you'll be able to reach out to anyone on an enrollment team. Next, you have our transcript specialist. You will be assigned a transcript specialist who will help you collect your transcripts if you're applying for any of our virtual campus online education programs. So we'll look up your schools you've attended, contact them if needed. We'll pay for the collection of your transcripts as long as it's something that we can do. And then also our transcript specialists will also contact the university, ensure we get them here for evaluations by the admissions team. The next is your success coach. So as your success coach, I will be the person who will be helping you every step of the way from once you are admitted into the program, helping you get registered, going over your program plan, what courses will you be taking when. As a success coach, I really wear many different hats. So I will be your academic advisor. I will be your someone who will help you and provide you with different resources that you need throughout the program, helping you with those different processes that we have already spoke about, preparing for your practicum, preparing for your internship, going over transfer credits if you do have any that was within the past 5 years. So really, I will be your go-to person starting the second week of class. And then your enrollment coach will actually be your go-to person all the way up into the first week of class. So we'll kind of tag team and help you out. The other individuals that you'll work up with is our financial aid team. Our financial aid team will help you with getting your FAFSAs together, if there's any extra documents that you may need, notifying you of where you stand within your offer of student loans, if there's anything more that you need on the financial front. So those are the main individuals that you will work with. Now, career and resource guides. So probably one of the biggest career and resource guides that you'll have as you go through your classes will be your instructors. Your instructors are amazing individuals who have years of experience and will be able to help guide you through your classes, really discuss with you any questions you have, whether it's content or you just want to pick their brains. I really advise you to reach out and talk with them. For career and assistance or resources that we have for even our alumni or future or current students is we have our career center. This is our Career Development Center. This will help you be ready for success in your chosen career, whether it's teaching in secondary, elementary, or special education. You'll be able to use our job search platform, which is called Handshake. You'll be able to go in there where employers actually contact the University of St. Francis and say, hey, we would like to advertise our open positions here to your students and alumni. So those are some of the different resources that we have for career and resource guides to help you. Another thing that we have is Smart Thinking. Smart Thinking is one of our tutoring services that we offer online, where you can either meet with a person one-on-one, as well as submit your paper, have them review, and they'll send it back to you. So as your success coach, I'll be able to help you with that process if that's something else that you would like to use. Another thing is our student accessibility services. They support our online students with disabilities and other services that may be available due to your specific situation. So anything you need as a student, you can reach out to myself, your success coach, and I will point you in the right direction.
Thanks everybody for your attention during the video there. If you joined us a little bit late, we do have a Q&A session that's still upcoming. There's a Q&A icon at the bottom of your screen. You can click that icon and then type in your questions about anything that you've seen or heard so far, or anything else that's still in your mind related to USF's teaching degrees. Before we get into that Q&A, just a quick reminder, classes start August 23rd. That's less than a month away, but you still have time to be able to finish up that enrollment process and be able to start classes with us on that day. And if you do, you'll get free books for your first class. USF has our arrangement with the Barnes & Noble Campus Bookstore, and we've made arrangements through an educational grant as well to be able to offer free books to the first class to anybody who starts classes on that day. So there's more details and terms around that, and so we'd love for you to call a USF enrollment coach to be able to explain more and help you take advantage of that offer. So give us a call at 888-699-8082 or send us an email at info@online.sf.edu. We're going to make sure that that ends up in the chat as well, so that you can do a quick copy paste of that information there. We're also going to make this recording available on YouTube. And so if there's anybody else that you know who would be interested in earning their teaching degree from USF, we're going to post that link onto YouTube and give you a chance to share that as well. So with that, let's welcome Cayla, Brittany, and Tyhanna here with us today. They've all made it back for our Q&A portion. Once again, you can click on the Q&A icon at the bottom of your screen and submit your question about anything that is still on your mind. So Cayla, Brittany, Tyhanna, good evening. Thanks for taking some time with us. We've already got a few questions underway. So if you ladies are ready, I'll go ahead and start sharing. Tyhanna, I'll start with you first because I see you got your camera on. We heard from you there at the end. You mentioned about the financial aid team at USF and maybe some of the resources that are available. Any more details you can give us about financial aid and its availability? Is there anything going on with the pandemic that's changing or altering financial aid? What would you have to say to that, Tyhanna?
Thank you, David. Actually, no, there is no changes to financial aid. We are actually requesting all of our students, whether you're in the transition to teaching program, your certificate program, or your master's, if you want to receive student loans, you definitely can go ahead, fill out your FAFSA, complete the documents, and then our financial aid team will work with the students to let them know of their offer, what they're going to be getting as they start their program. The only thing that's as master level programs, we don't offer grants here, but we do have the federal financial aid available.
Okay, all right, thanks for that insight, Tyhanna. Brittany, I'm going to send this next question your way. We obviously talked a lot, especially at the beginning, about the Indiana education landscape and how these programs help prepare folks for licensure. Any other details, Brittany, that you can get about how USF prepares students to receive that initial Indiana licensure in terms of requirements and standards and the like? What else would you have to share on that?
Yeah, all of our courses we went through a very heavy, detailed mapping process. And so all of our courses are mapped directly to the national and state standards for Indiana. And I can kind of speak about the secondary program, and then I'll let Cayla jump in for the elementary. But for the secondary program, you are going to receive an education very pedagogy based, assuming that you're coming to us with that content background already. So if you're licensing in English, you're not going to get the English, like the literature and the content necessarily. You're getting the pedagogy to prepare you for teaching English. So that's kind of how the secondary program works. And I'll let Cayla jump in with any more about the elementary.
Thanks, Brittany. So in the elementary program, we still have our focus on the pedagogy, but we also do offer different methods courses. We have a combination of ELA, or reading, English language arts, and social studies, a methods course. And then we also have a math and science methods course, so that we are allowing you to dig into that content a little bit before you would step into the elementary classroom, knowing that in the elementary classroom, you will likely be teaching all content area subjects.
Okay, excellent. Cayla and Brittany, thanks so much. I'm also seeing a question, we've focused a lot on Indiana. I'm seeing a question that says, if I live in a state other than Indiana, is there still value in me taking classes at USF and earning these education degrees? So Cayla, Brittany, how would you answer that?
Thank you. Thanks for asking. So there's definitely still value in you taking courses at USF. Our courses are aligned to educator prep standards, and those standards are going to be the same across many programs across the United States. When it comes to actual course content, many of the assignments give you flexibility with, for example, we have some students who may live in Illinois or Ohio, and we give them that flexibility to work with their state standards. So we're still giving you that practice. And then when it comes down to, the end of your program, we have our licensing and accreditation specialist. We also have the folks at R&L who can be helpful to you as you then transition into your state's, licensing process. Brittany, do you have anything to add, or Tyhanna?
No, I was actually going to say the same thing, that the national standards are the same across the board. So prepping you for any state.
Okay. All right. Fantastic, Cayla and Brittany. We've got time for a couple more questions. So if you haven't already, be sure to submit yours using that Q&A function. I see we have a question from Kathleen. Kathleen is asking specifically about the Master's in Special Education. Kathleen asks, would a Master's in Special Education prepare you to become a resource teacher or a reading specialist? So let's talk about career outcomes and see how we might answer Kathleen's question. Cayla, Brittany, Tyhanna, who wants to start?
I'll go ahead and talk about specifically a resource teacher. That is our mild program. So yes, a master's is going to prepare you for that. I do think that, and Cayla, you're going to need to jump in a little bit on this, the reading specialist, there may be some additional certificates or something. Can you jump in a little bit and help me on this question?
Absolutely. I do not know the 1, 2, and 3 of what is that exactly needed for the reading specialist, but I know there is additional on top of your master's degree in special education. It's dependent upon the district and how they title reading specialist, whether you're just working with students for intervention reading services, or if they're actually looking for someone with like a reading specialist degree, which would then be separate from our master's in special education.
Okay. All right. Kathleen, hopefully that was a helpful answer for you. Tyhanna, I'd like to kind of follow up on this. You talked in your portion of the video about, career and resource guides and all those sorts of things. What other things would you share in terms of how USF helps students identify those teaching jobs and go after those jobs? What sort of thing do you as a success coach and others at USF do as it relates to career prep and putting people in that position to succeed in their career?
So a couple of things that I have that we've run across that USF has done is a lot of times our education department will receive job postings from school districts. And what we'll do is we'll then send that information out to those students who are in those areas. We'll let them know, hey, we've been reached out specifically, these positions are open. So we'll notify students as they come about. As I mentioned in the video, we do have Handshake. We do have that available on through their My Cougar connection for them to be able to receive or to even go to job fairs in their area and be able to see what's going on. And then, depending on where they are, there's different, like Department of Education has made postings. So I'll walk students through those resources as well on where they can look for positions. And then also to how to navigate, the different school districts that are around them and try to find the information. Because I know sometimes it can be daunting trying to find information on district websites.
All right. Excellent. Thanks for that. Tyhanna, I think we've got time for one more question, and it's one that I think all three of our guests here can weigh in on. There are so many options available for people to get their education degree online, to get any degree online, really. And so why should someone choose USF specifically after everything that we've already kind of heard and seen and talked about today? Why else would you recommend USF to someone who is interested in earning their teaching degree? So Cayla, how about I start with you, and then Brittany, and then we'll wrap up with Tyhanna.
Okay, yes, that's a great question. Of course, I'm biased, but we have a wonderful program. Our program is fast-paced, which is great for someone who is switching careers or who is getting their master's and maybe currently working. The online platform is wonderful. We set our modules up in a very clear fashion where you're able to work through them, but yet we're readily accessible, both through Tyhanna as a success coach and us as your instructors. All of your instructors are either currently in the field in teaching or administration, or have very recently been in the field and are, staying up on research and current happenings in education. Brittany, Tyhanna, anything to add?
I will just say also, I can't remember if you mentioned this already, Cayla, but the courses, they are not synchronous, they're asynchronous. So you're doing these at your own pace, which is great for working individuals. And, we all have our own things going on. So if you have a family or people to look after, it's great that these courses are not synchronous, they're asynchronous, and you get the week to do that module in most cases. And then I was going to say something else and it slipped my mind, but I would just echo what Cayla said. All of your instructors attempt to be very accessible for you, and whether that's by email or phone or Teams meeting or Zoom, to make sure that you're getting your questions answered. Oh, I remember, small classes. Most of our sections are small in nature, so that helps with the collaborative feel. I think students enjoy feeling like they can reach out by email or chat to their other peers, and it creates kind of a comfort level.
And I would agree with everything that Brittany and Cayla said. One thing that I tell all of my students, one of the great things that you're getting with USF is you're getting that family environment. Everyone truly cares. Everyone really understands what you're going through. They've been there, they've done that. We've all been in a program, master's program, and have gone through what you're going to be going through. So there is that aspect. And then the other aspect is that you have so much support. You know, with that family environment, there's so much support from your professors, from myself as your success coach. There isn't a question you can't ask. You can ask anybody and everybody. You've got great directors who are there for you as you go through, as well as from start to finish. Your enrollment coach, your transcript specialist, everyone is here to help you out throughout the way. There is no guessing. We're going to let you know what it is you need to do. That way you can make sure you know, you can ask your questions and then make the best educated decision for yourself. So those one of the biggest things I would say as well, on top of everything Brittany and Cayla said, would be an added benefit of coming here to USF.
All right, fantastic. Tyhanna, Brittany, Cayla, thanks so much for your time and for your answers. And thanks to everybody for joining us and for your questions today. If you're looking for another reason to choose USF for your online teaching program, how about free books for your first class? They're available if you start classes on August 23rd. We've got more terms and details available when you speak with a USF enrollment coach. And one last time, we're just going to plug the phone number and the email address there. So 888-699-8082. And then the email, and then I've put that in the chat. I'm going to put the email address in the chat as well, info@online.sf.edu. And so those are there in the chat to be able to get in touch with an enrollment coach and learn more about the free book offer and other questions that you have about your USF teaching program. And again, we're going to post this webinar on YouTube here soon. So thanks again, everybody, for joining us today, especially for Cayla and Brittany and Tyhanna and your expertise again. We hope you have a great rest of your day and week. Take care, everybody.